All right, what's up, everybody? Back here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, talking a little recruiting today. We're 1 week away from the early signing period, which could be big for the Crimson Tide. Obviously, Alabama currently sitting with the #1 recruiting class in the country. You look back at this past weekend for Alabama, and big weekend. Flipping two huge commitments. Dax Hill, flipping him, the #1 safety in the country, 5-star recruit, away from his commitment to Michigan, to Alabama. Then Jeffrey Carter, 4-star defensive back, one of Alabama's top overall cornerback prospects from pretty much day one. Flipping him away from his commitment to Texas A&M. So it's a big week for Alabama, going into this week. And obviously, Alabama didn't get good news on Monday. Clay Webb, 5-star offensive tackle or offensive guard center. He probably wants us to say guard, but he's rated as a center on Rivals.com, and I assume most everyone else has him rated as a center as well. But expects to play guard once he gets to the next level. Committed to Georgia instead of Alabama, and I talked about this a little bit the other day on Bama Insider. Clay was one of those kids that was more of an elite player than a position of need in terms of this late in the process. Alabama already has some interior linemen committed, Darian Dalcourt, Tanner Bowles. You could also slide Pierce Quick in there. So what that means is Alabama's not going to go after another interior lineman in this class since they missed on Clay Webb. They're pretty much done there. Still recruiting some tackles, still recruiting Evan Neal, obviously 5-star offensive tackle out of IMG Academy, which in fact Nick Saban will do his in-home visit with Evan Neal today. Also still recruiting Darnell Wright, a 5-star offensive tackle out of West Virginia. So, and Darnell's not going to be making a decision until January. So we can talk about Darnell next month or at least after this early signing period. What's going on this week? We're Wednesday. We're a week away from the early signing period, but we will see at least one big commitment happen this week. Kaivon Thibodeaux, the 5-star defensive end, edge rusher out of California. Been to Alabama 3 or 4 times. I think it is, has gotten pretty close. Alabama, Oregon. He visited Florida State, USC, but I really don't think those schools are really that much in it. I think it's coming down between Alabama and Oregon. And right now, I'm projecting him to announce for Alabama on Saturday. I think Alabama's done a really good job recruiting him, led by Tosh Lapoy and Jeff Banks. Nick Saban had his in-home visit with him last week. So, definitely think that Alabama's got a great shot to land him this weekend on Saturday. So keep an eye on that. A couple other things we're watching for is, and we talked about this a few times on Bama Insider. We've talked about it, the last few days. Is Alabama plans on taking at least one more defensive back in this year's class, and we've talked about these 3 guys: Marcus Banks, Noah Gates, and also Jordan Battle. Now, Jordan Battle's been committed to Ohio State for a long time. A lot of people assume that there's a good chance that he could flip to Alabama. I think once kind of the dust has settled with Ohio State, with Urban Meyer leaving and Ryan Day becoming the new head coach, I think he's a little bit interested in what Ryan Day has to say. I think that he's going to have an in-home visit on Thursday, so probably won't see a final decision from him until maybe Friday. But so we'll have to wait and see what happens with him. Marcus Banks had an in-home visit with Nick Saban yesterday. Talked to him a little bit, and he said the visit was great, and Nick Saban still told him that they want him in this class. So like I said, in my opinion, it's kind of whoever commits first. And Noah Gates had an in-home visit on Monday with Tasha Poy and Jeff Banks. So one of those 3 guys I think is going to end up being in Alabama's recruiting class. Just like I said, it's just going to be the first one who decides to jump on board. Let's talk about some of these bigger name prospects that everybody seems to want to know what they're going to do. A lot of buzz coming out of Athens this past weekend after the IMG duo, Evan Neal and Trey Sanders, took a visit to Georgia. Kind of not really surprised by the visit from them. I am surprised a little bit about all the talk that's coming out of Georgia all of a sudden on Trey Sanders, because they were probably, I would say a week ago, weren't really considered that much of a threat. And then all of a sudden he decided to take a visit to Georgia, and now it seems like they're in the top two, that he's going to possibly pick between Alabama and Georgia next week. I've always felt pretty good about Trey going into Alabama's recruiting class, but I think Georgia has certainly made it very tough. They've come in and done a really good job recruiting him, and he's got a big decision ahead. He's got some in-home visits this week. Nick Saban's coming in today, Wednesday, and then Kirby Smart doing an in-home visit on Thursday. I know he's going to go to Florida this weekend for his final visit. His brother's there, but I just don't. I think it's going to end up being between Alabama and Georgia. Evan Neal, big time prospect for Alabama. We talked a little bit about him earlier. I definitely think that Alabama's got a great chance to land his commitment, and he'll be announcing on. Both these guys are announcing on December the 19th. So keep an eye on Evan Neal. I really like Alabama's chances there. And then, Nakobe Dean, 5-star linebacker, had an in-home visit on Tuesday night with Nick Saban. I really think that Alabama's, in the race. I wouldn't say they're the team to beat, but I think they're in the race. Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Ole Miss. A lot of people, there's been so many different things about him over the course of the last, few days. A lot of conflicting info coming out regarding him. It's hard to know what to believe. But I think that, I think it's coming down to the wire for him. For a while, probably before he visited Alabama for the Iron Bowl, I thought Georgia was the team to beat. And then he visited for the Iron Bowl, and I thought, all right, well, started hearing some things that, some really good things for Alabama, and certainly sounds like, Alabama was in the driver's seat. But we'll just have to wait and see. Nick Saban had an in-home visit with him on Tuesday night. Kirby Smart visited him on Monday, so we'll see. I think it's very close. So those are some of the key names that going to be making decisions over the course of the next week. Obviously, we're going to be watching some of these Alabama commitments right now that are still taking some visits. Justin Abojabe, who visited Miami this past weekend, going to be in Tuscaloosa this weekend. So watch that pretty closely. So anyway, let me take some questions here, and then we'll get out of here. This was just going to be a quick little update for you guys heading into the final week here. Let's see. Am I sure Pola Gates is a take? Absolutely. And I know different people have been saying he's not a take. He is. Nick Saban visited him. He was one of the first visits for Nick Saban last week. Tasha Poy went and saw him on Monday. So, you go see a guy that much and that soon, you're definitely a take. I know that, and I know that's been reported elsewhere that he's not, but you can trust me here. He definitely is. Kayvon, do we land him? Like I said earlier, I think Alabama's in good shape there. Will it surprise me if he commits to Oregon? No, but as of right now, projecting him to Alabama, and that's probably going to be my final prediction there. After missing on Clay Webb, are there any more offensive lineman targets? Earlier in the show, I said, no, in terms of interior guys. Now, Alabama's still recruiting Evan Webb, Darnell Wright, Evan Neal, and Darnell Wright, two outside guys, 2 tackles. But in terms of interior guys, as I said earlier, not necessarily a position of need. He was more of an elite player than a position of need, so they're not going to go and offer another interior guy. Let's see here. What do I think about Siaki Akea? I've been asked this question. I feel like I've been asked this question every week for the last 6 months, and I've said the same thing. Alabama hasn't really been recruiting him, and I keep seeing people say, and now finally people have changed their tune a little bit, but I've been saying for months that he really hasn't been a take for Alabama. Alabama's been recruiting, some smaller defensive, I say smaller, guys who are under, 330 pounds. He hasn't really been a take for Alabama for a long time. They haven't really been recruiting him that heavily, but a lot of other people keep saying that they are, and or they have been until this week when he canceled an official visit to Alabama, decided to go to Florida instead. So yeah, I mean he's pretty much out of the running for Alabama. Let's see, is Henry Tola still on board if Dean commits? I think so. I really wouldn't look at overall linebacker numbers. I'd look more at top players. I think that's what's happening right now in terms of, for Alabama. A key thing for Alabama right now is getting another inside linebacker. But, it's also getting elite players because they've really filled some needs at a lot of positions. So, the next, couple spots, really going to be the top end guys. They're not going to miss, they're not going to pass on elite players. So Henry Tola and Kobe Dean been two elite players for Alabama from pretty much day one. And, they really love these guys a lot. And I said on our board on Bama Insider earlier today, I said, if Alabama misses on Kobe Dean, they still have Henry Tola, who many think is strongly favoring Alabama. He won't announce until January 19th, but I still think Alabama's got a good, really good chance to get him. But if they get to, they're very ecstatic about that. Any defensive lineman, Alabama's got a great defensive line class. You can go look it up on Bama Insider. And we'll just have to see how it finishes out. Ishmael Sopsher is going to be announcing. He's going to wait until February to announce. So obviously, we're going to be keeping a close eye on him. The only other defensive lineman that's going to be announcing in the next week is Ty Robinson out of Arizona. I think he ends up going to Nebraska. How many spots are left? That's the $1 million question. Alabama's still recruiting. It seems like they're still recruiting like they've got 20 spots left when there's probably only about, you're at 24 commitments right now. They're going to be able to back count some kids to last year's class. And, they've got probably anywhere between 13 and 16 guys who are actually enrolling early. So you got some spots available. So I think Alabama will end up, overall in the recruiting class, they'll bring in 25 for next year for the 2019 class, but they'll back count some. So overall, we'll probably see, I would say, anywhere close to 29, 30 guys. All right. Do I think they will get DJ Williams? I'm assuming you're asking if I think Alabama will get DJ Williams. DJ Williams seems like a very good prospect. Blew up this year, had a great senior season, and it seems like Trey Sanders goes to Alabama, then Georgia's going to take him. If Trey Sanders goes to Georgia, Alabama's going to take him. So, we're going to keep a pretty close eye on him over the course of the next week. William Lee, are we out on Zipper? No, Alabama's actually going to have a visit with him today. The tight ends coach, Jeff Banks, is going to go down to Lakeland and see him. Now, we did see a story that came out yesterday that said that that Zipper and his teammate, Lloyd Summerall, plan on playing together at the next level. So, that may eliminate Alabama there, if that's true. I mean, we see kids all the time say, I'm playing with my teammate or my best friend or my cousin or whoever it may be. See that all the time, and it doesn't happen. But, we'll have to keep an eye on that. I keep hearing Miami a lot with him, and I know that there's been a lot of smoke about Florida the last few days, but Miami seems to feel like they're in good position with him. So we'll keep an eye on it. Is Dax Hill a starter from day one? I mean, he's got a chance to. I mean, he's certainly one of the best safety prospects that I've seen, coming out of high school. But obviously, Alabama's got some really talented guys, on the team. So he's going to have to push. But biggest thing with him is he's not enrolling early. I always say that the guys who've got a chance to come in and start from day one are the guys who enroll early, and he's not. So, but of course, Patrick Surtain, he wasn't one of those guys who enrolled early either. So, and we see how he's done this year. So he's got a chance. Let's see. How about the cornerback position? Alabama, really recruited well at the safety position this year. Last year, they recruited some really good cornerbacks. They were really trying to get just one cornerback in this year's class. Maybe two. We've talked about Noah Pola Gates and Marcus Banks. Those are probably more cornerbacks then Jordan Battle, who's a safety. Those are guys that Alabama's still recruiting. And then, sorry guys. So anyway, I think that Alabama's got a good chance to really close strong there. Jeffrey Carter, the obviously big commitment for Alabama this past weekend. But anyway, that's going to be it for today, guys. I've got to do a radio show. I just want to give a quick update on where things are 1 week into the before the big early signing period. So thanks, guys, and we'll see you next time. Please join us at BamaInsider.com, where we've got plenty of updates on there right now. Thanks a lot. Bye.